may be some long faces and protests from some of the country's youngsters when they're woken up at the crack of dawn on Monday. Why? We've all got to go back to school eventually. It's because the Basic Education Department says it's ready to welcome learners back to the classrooms. But what's happening with the educators? Are they as excited? Are they scared? Are they anxious? And have we vaccinated enough of our teachers to begin another school term? It's always a pleasure to welcome Mugwena Maluleke, General Secretary of the South African Democratic Teachers Union. You'll know the acronym by now, that being Sadtu. Mr. Maluleke, good day to you. Are you for or against schools reopening on Monday?
Good evening, Gareth. Good evening to the viewers at home. It's a very difficult question to say for or against. Maybe we should be saying that this is the third term, and in terms of our own submission, Gareth, we have indicated to the Department of Education that it was not going to be wise and advisable for the schools to reopen on the 19th. Our submission as the 5 unions was that the 26th should remain in the calendar, and therefore it will be informed by how we assess the situation, as well as how the science is really telling us. And therefore, yeah, in terms of the report that we have received from the provinces are saying they are ready. The principals have been at school since Thursday and Friday, and therefore the teachers will be coming to the schools on Monday.
All right, so will the very unhappy pupils. I'm sure they've enjoyed their slightly longer than normal holiday. Let's talk vaccinations, shall we, for a second, Mr. Maluleke? Happy with the rollout of the vaccinations? It seems Education Department has done as much as they can. Do you think enough teachers vaccinated? And what do you make of teachers who don't want to get the vaccination, the anti-vax in this case?
Yeah. First, I must indicate that really we are impressed by the turnout of our teachers and the education personnel who were able to take up this particular opportunity and strengthen their immune system. We have 89% of those who have really taken up, and some of them didn't take it because they were not well, and therefore they needed to spend almost about 30 to 40 days before they take it because they might have tested positive, and some of them have exercised their constitutional rights, being medical or religious, not to take it. However, the remaining percentage, we believe that it will go up to 94 to 95% of those who will be able to take it, because as we continue with our campaign and explaining to them the importance of strengthening their immune system, not only for them, but for their families and their communities, is very, very critical. So, yes, we will continue to do it. We don't call them the anti-vaccines. We are saying they are hesitant. They are still doubtful because there's a lot of fake information out there, and therefore we need to defeat that particular fake information, disinformation and misinformation. We've got to make sure that education plays its role, its rightful duty to educate and not to miseducate.
And this is perhaps my last question to you, Mr. Maluleke. I know you're busy traveling as well, so I appreciate the time. How are we going to handle the situation, not from those who, as you quite rightly perhaps say, are hesitant to take the vaccination, but those who are teachers now? I'm talking about teachers, educators, who are nervous about coming back to school to do their jobs in the middle of a pandemic. What do you do in a situation like that when someone has real health concerns, but they want to come back and teach? How are you handling that with your union?
Yes, from the Sadtu perspective is that we still have the directives and the directions that are saying that during these particular levels, members or educators who are not well, they have got comorbidities, they are able to apply for concessions, and therefore they will then be able to apply for leave. Obviously, they have got to go and see medical practitioners, and they know the procedures and the processes, how they follow it, and therefore they have got to do that, and then that will then be approved, because vaccination is not mandatory. However, it's important that they also prepare themselves in terms of those particular requirements of submitting medical reports that indicates that they have got comorbidities, and therefore they'll go on leave. So that's how we help them, because we're at level 4. We don't know whether the president tomorrow will then readjust the levels. That is what we do not know.
And perhaps just before I let you go, only because you mentioned the president, Mr. Maluleke, so this is your fault, not me. What do you think the president is going to say tomorrow night? 30 seconds. What would you like to hear from the family meeting?
The family meeting, I suspect the president will really readjust the levels to level 3, given the fact that the scientists have indicated that the country has already passed the peak.
Well, I appreciate your time. I know you pulled over on the side of the road to speak to us this afternoon. Always willing to as well. Mr. Mugwena Maluleke, General Secretary of Teachers Union Sadtu, joining us here on eNCA.